Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hobbyhammer podcast. That is Lloyd.
And that is Ben.
And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about all of the combat patrols that are currently available on the Warhammer website. Before we do that, before we go through them and basically crown our winner like we did last week with the
Yeah, I think it's more a case of welcome back to the arbitrary corner of the internet for our questionable decision making processes. However, yes, there are things to happen before we set the world on fire.
Yes. Also, we would like to point out that on the last episode, we did go just through all of the ones that are available on the website. We did miss a couple, admittedly, but hey, we were just literally going by their own website, so that just, maybe they should look at their website. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's get into the first segment, shall we? And it is the rumor engine. Well, this one's a bit
Let's start with the question: what is brown and sticky?
this.
This.
This. I mean, yeah, it's a stick.
It's a stick, a staff, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to guess like the paint job on it. Maybe it could be like I don't know. I feel like this could be like Age of Sigmar as
Yeah.
opposed to 40k.
Yeah. Just that
Um,
natural look to it. Yeah, you're not finding many trees in the 41st millennium, are you? I mean,
hmm.
I can't even think of any race.
Oh, it does say on the notes a long stick-looking thing that might also be a tongue. So
Oh, the angle though, it's a very odd looking tongue. But yeah, that's true.
yeah, could be.
Mm.
Also a lot of soul searching and introspection. I don't. I literally haven't got a clue. If I was gonna stick my neck out a little bit, I would say that it is maybe some sort of wizard's staff.
Yeah, could be.
And the thing that makes me push in that direction slightly is if anybody watched the Warhammer Skulls preview, which is all the new Warhammer computer games that they've got coming out, there's a new DLC for Warhammer. I always get this the wrong way around. Total War Warhammer 3, and there are wizards. There seems to be more wizards in it. So perhaps that is my kind of contribution to this section.
And as per usual, I don't have any. I haven't got a clue. Yeah,
Just a stick.
it's a stick. It could be many things. It could be aired. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, my immediate thing was like Kroot because it's just,
And
but it's not going to be Kroot because they're already out.
yeah, they're already pretty fully furnished, the crew, aren't they? And yeah, if they do get a new mod, they won't be for a while, I wouldn't imagine. So that's our kind of take on the Ruber engine. Guys, let us know down in the comments what you think it might be, if you think it might be anything at all. It's probably a good time to bring up our latest stretch goal. We're aiming to get to 500 subs on the channel, so please feel free to, that's 10, Ben. Not 5.
I mean, 10,000 would be nice also.
Ooh, 10,000 would be lovely. We'll get there eventually. Our first goal is 500.
500.
It's that Friday feeling. So yeah, our first goal is 500. So if you like our content, if you're enjoying the podcast, please obviously like it because that tells YouTube that it's good and it will share it with other people. But also please subscribe because we are driving towards that first subscriber target of 500 subs. So after that little ask, Ben, where are we going next on today's news?
We're going to the pre-orders, which
Ooh.
I think somebody is rather excited about this, and that somebody might be wearing a red shirt. And if
I'm very excited.
yeah,
I'm very, very excited. It's also more of a salmon colour than red, but we won't. It's just, just my camera. Just my camera.
yeah.
So it does make it look more piggy red. But yes, I'm very excited for the Space Trolls Army box. I think this is going to be one of those which sells out really quickly. So
Yeah.
if you want it, get on the website early and hit that refresh button. I think it's a lovely box. Now, I've done a full unboxing on my channel, so we'll pop a link to that in the description as well, so you can have a little look at the unboxing to see exactly what's in there, run through the models and the codex. And it's a bit of a Brucey bonus. Ben and I are also going to do a little bit of a collab on a box to board challenge. Now, Ben is the box to board expert. I went to him for advice. I ignored his advice, and then something else happened. So tune into that video to see whether or not I actually got it onto the table. And Ben, you're going to do it slightly different to me.
Yes, I am. So I've had, mine's been wrought with peril. Let's just put it like that.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's where I'm going to leave it, but you're going to have to tune in to my video, which Usually I like to get them out on the Saturday of the pre-order, but due to some unforeseen circumstances,
Lost in the warp.
yes, yeah, things are going to change. But it will be coming out. The Box Board Challenge will be coming out. It just is going to be a bit of a different spin on it because, yeah, things happened.
And I'm going to try and convince you to love Space Wolves like I love Space Wolves. So we'll see how that goes, really. But yes, it's a great pre-order weekend. I think it's a great box. You get some
Yes.
really lovely models in there. So you've got the Space Wolf Battle Leader, which is Wolfguard Battle Leader. Lots of options, lovely. You've got the Wolf Priest, which is my personal favorite model in there. Then you've got 10 Grey Hunters, 10 Blood Claws, and 3 of the new Wolfguard Head Takers with their hunting wolves as well. So I think it's a lovely box. Ben, what were your first impressions?
So jealousy, just flat out jealousy, because I am obviously a Blood Angels fan, and this is just. I was a little bit disappointed with the Blood Angels release. This has made me feel even more bitter about it because these are beautiful. I mean, again, admittedly, I don't know a huge amount about Space Wolves. You've been kind of teaching me a couple of things, but my appreciation for these have grown significantly. And as you said, I think these boxes are going to be selling out very quickly because just kind of putting our finger on the pulse of the entire community, these are being very well received. Very
Yes.
well received.
Yes, they have been very well received. So that's the kind of the main pre-order. There are a couple of other bits and pieces out as well. So there's the chapter approved 25-26 mission deck, which is obviously different ways to play the game. And one other interesting thing, which has come out a lot earlier than I anticipated it coming, is the Warhammer 40,000 Crusade Armageddon. So I thought this might come later on in the edition because it feels like this is a nice segue into 11th edition. Now, I'm saying that on the basis that editions change every 3 years, so it's probably next summer 2026, where we'll see a new 40k edition.
Yep.
But I feel like it's come early. But it's
We'll take it.
Go on. Yeah,
We'll take it. Yeah.
yeah, we'll take it. We'll take all the content we can. But for those of you not sure about Armageddon, Armageddon is Eleanor, which is the Orc homeworld. It's also the key to basically the Sol sector, which is where Terra is, where Earth is. So it's a really important place in terms of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. The Orcs want it because of all the death and destruction. Angron keeps turning up there because it's blood for the blood god, etc. The Grey Knights try to kill everyone. The Space Wolves stop them. So yeah, there's lots of kind of stuff going on there. So it's kind of that's going to be the next melting pot, I think. So we've had Vigilus and that kind of stuff. So Armageddon's going to be the next one. I think it kind of sets up maybe the Orcs to be the protagonists for 11th, not protagonists, antagonists
Science, that's
for 11th edition. So yes, that's exciting. There's a little bit of terrain coming out as well, and obviously a Belisarius Call, the Great Work, where we will hear all about his building of the Primaris Marines.
That sounds interesting, actually. I'm actually quite keen to hear about that. Again, that information you give about Armageddon is new to me as well, so it's always good to kind of hear little bits and pieces that you are unaware of. So again, thanks for
I
filling.
mean, that's my idiot's guide.
Yeah, well,
It's a vague guide. So again, there's going to be more people in the comments who know a heck of a lot more about it than I do. So please feel free to have start the conversation. Be polite and similar to each other, but start that conversation in the comments around Armageddon and whether or not you're as excited as I am for Space Wolves.
I don't think that's possible. Just to be clear, I don't think that's.
Yeah, I'll fight you.
Yeah, he will, and probably howl like a wolf at the same time. And all four. So that is all the pre-orders. That is everything that is going to be coming out this Saturday. So with that being said, shall we move on to the main topic, the arbitrary ranking of combat patrol boxes?
The best Warhammer 40,000 combat patrol. Now, if you watched the last episode, this is how we did this. We started with no plan. We made it up as we went along.
Yes.
This time, we're just going to do the same things we did last time, but we're going to miss the making it up bit because we kind of know what we're doing. So we'll play winner stays on.
Yep.
So we're going to take 2 combat patrols. We're going to compare them, which one we think is the coolest. Purely by rule of cool. There will be a lot of arbitrary addition and subtraction of rules as we go through this.
Yes. Yeah. There will be. Just
yeah. And we're going to start with 2 brand new combat patrols. So we're going to take the new Thousand Sins combat patrol and put it up against the new World Eaters combat patrol. So, out of those 2, which one do we think is the best?
Shall I
Spoiler, I hate them both.
Yeah, I hate one a little bit less than the other,
Okay.
but it's not by much. Well, as regular listeners will know, I'm not a big fan, and neither is Lloyd, of Chaos, simply because of the amount of effort it takes to paint them. They have got all the trim in the world, and then they've added more. So it's I feel like the Chaos Gods were like, "How much trim would you like?" And they just said yes.
Yes. And add some spikes for fun.
Yes, just spikes and skulls, please. Thank you very much. That's the World Eater. So to give a very quick answer to this, I'm gonna go with the World Eaters. I just prefer
Okay.
World Eaters to Thousand Suns. I think Thousand Suns aesthetic is cool, but again, like my appreciation for Chaos, it's from a distance. It's like, yeah, cool, but not for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna give this to the World Eaters. What about you?
I will also give it to the World Eaters. And the main reason I'll give it to the World Eaters, they're all fairly newer models, whereas in the Thousand Suns, the Rubric Marines are a little bit older, so they're a little out of scale. But also the sheer amount of gold trim that you have to paint on them is just mind blowing. Just, yeah, it's just there's a lot. Whereas with the World Eater Combat Patrol, you've got a nice kind of difference between the Berserkers and the what are they?
Jackals?
Cultists.
Yeah.
Let's call them cultists. They've got a proper name.
Is it
Uh,
Jackals? It is the Jackals, right?
Jackals, that's right. Thanks for reminding me. You also got that Lord of Executions in there as well, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that both sets have got Demon Princes because I think the Demon Prince is a really nice model. It's a really versatile kit. You can do it with wings. It's got god-specific heads as well as just like a generic head. There's an Age of Sigmar version and a 40k version. I don't think that the Zinch one really works for me in terms of it having that red flesh. And
No.
similarly with the corn one having the black flesh. They don't really work for me, I don't think. But I'd probably say the World Eater one edges it slightly.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, and again, all these arbitrary rules that we're applying to this because it's our podcast, we can do what we want.
We
But
can do exactly what we want.
I do like the fact that there is one large centerpiece model to this. Again, it's not the largest model in the world, but I do like the fact it's not just troops. That's the one thing.
Yes.
Should we try and say one nice thing about them? Should we try and force our way to say something nice about it?
What about about the Thousand Suns ones?
Any of them, because
Oh, I like the color blue.
there we go. And I like the fact that you get a slightly bigger model than the other models.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they genuinely they are cool in their own right. I just think because I'm talking from this from a point of view of trauma of painting them. I just don't find them fun to paint, but I think they look really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've not dared to paint any Thousand Suns things, and to be honest, I don't think I ever will. And World Eaters, admittedly I would be tempted to paint some World Eaters, but again, it's very, 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 very low on my list of things that I want to paint.
Mm.
It's on it, but very, very low. And I just appreciate World Eaters in terms of their simplicity. I think we've talked about like the aesthetics side of it, but there's something quite nice about the simplicity of just run up in your opponent's face and smack him with stuff. And I
Sharp
think
stuff,
that's
sharp chain,
sharp
pointy stuff.
chain. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, in terms of the world leaders, yeah, it's got the win here. But again,
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so World Eaters win that one, and this, if you're not sure what winner stays on is, this is what winner stays on. So the World Eaters stay on, and they go up against the Grey Knights. So
Right.
Ben, what do you think about the Grey Knights?
So first things first is the baby carrier or the baby walker. I my brain kind of flip flops between thinking this is really cool and then I look at it in more detail. I'm like, oh, okay. Mm, it just one of my friends, he's a big man, and he had Aaron. I'll give him a shout out. He had his son in one of these things, and it just looked exactly like this, just like a Grey Mounts Walker. The other thing I will say going against this is these are old models, very old. I mean, those firstborn Marines. I just I get there's a lot of people out there who love and I mean love first born Marines.
Yeah,
I just think they look out of date now. And I'm a big one for I like the most up to date things. I like when everything's scaled to the right, it's got right level. Those Marines, I can't imagine they're much different in size compared to Acadian now, which breaks the lore
Mm.
a lot. Like a Marine in the lore is this monster of a human, and when they're the exact same size as a normal human, I don't know. It breaks it a little bit for me. So I'm gonna have to give it to the World Eaters.
They come with a Berserker as well, on
Yeah.
theme of the Armageddon Crusade book that's coming out. Great
Well,
Knights against.
they are getting updated, right? I believe that the Grey Knights are getting some new models. We saw that a couple of weeks ago, months ago, that they're
So
launching updates.
there's only one new model
It's
coming
just
for the
one.
Grey Knights, and that is an upgraded. Uh, I was saying it's an upgraded baby carrier, basically, which is it's correct term is a Nemesis Dread Knight. It's basically you can have a Grandmaster in a Dread Knight, which is one of the options in the Codex, but there's no model for it. So what they're doing is they're bringing out some upgrades for the Dread Knight, so you can have a Grandmaster in it. So that's the only upgrade that Grey Knights are getting this edition. They are due. They're going to be more than due because when I think about it, they're the only. I mean, Grey Knight Terminators in the lore. I love the Grey Knights in the lore, and if you play Chaos Gate, I think it is with the Grey Knights. So everyone's a Terminator basically. I love it. They're a great kind of faction, very secretive faction. I like how they came about at the end of the Horus Heresy and how they kind of got established, those kinds of things. But the models are dated, they are very small, and they're very busy. You'd think, oh, Grey Knights, spray them silver. And I'm in. No, you spray them silver, but there's all the gold, there's all the white, all the red, there's all the different bits of pieces they've got on their armor, which is absolutely fine, by the way. I'm not dissing that at all. I think they need it because of how they are. They're an elite army.
Yeah.
But again, it just makes it difficult to paint. I mean, I like the fact that you get a Nemesis Dread Knight with it because they are a big chunk of a weapon. I like that you get a librarian in it. Sorry, a librarian in there as well. Um, but the fact that they are those kind of older models, they are much smaller scale.
Yeah.
That kind of does go against them. So if and when they get renewed, I'll very much look forward to that. But I think for me, I'll probably stick with you and give it to the World Eaters.
Yeah, I just think it'd be hard for me to recommend this to someone who's getting into the hobby. I'm trying to take it from that perspective as well, because old kits, which is gonna leave a bit of a bad taste in your mouth whenever they're probably gonna get updated in the next 2 years, I'd say. In all likelihood, the next 2 years. So it just yeah, I just wouldn't want someone picking up this box and they'd be like, cool, oh wait, they've completely done away with these and now these are
Yeah,
um
I think that's understandable.
yeah.
So we're going to give that to the World Eaters.
Yep. Okay.
But I am very strongly going to come out for the Black Templars in the next one.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much going for this kit.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I'm a massive Black Templar fan anyway. So Black Templars are probably my favorite chapter, then Space Wolves. Black Templars were my first ever dalliance with Warhammer 40k as well. So I've kind of got that link back as well. So I think I'm going to have to say Black Templars. And if I was going to give a reason other than just, oh my God, I love Black Templars, you get an upgrade kit in there. You get a Marshal, which is just an absolutely fantastic looking model.
Yeah.
You should move the sword. I think you've got a sword or an axe option. You get the impulsor as well for getting people where they need to go. You get 5 intercessors, and you also get the Crusader squad, which has got a sword brother, 5 initiates, and 4 neophytes, essentially the Black Templar scouts. And what I really like about this is the amount of spares you get in there. So if you've got the intercessors with bolt rifles, if you had, I think it just falls. So I think you only get 4 bolt rifles the um in the Crusader squad, but you can actually give those bolt rifles to the intercessor squad, and you can have them with all the chains and all the iconography on as well. So it's a really nice way of making like a fully proper Black Templar army because they've all got the sculpted shoulder pads, and for me, chef's kiss.
Yeah, I mean, this is immediately. To be fair, this was not a hard fight. Yeah, but I'm going to give it to the Black Templars. From my perspective, Black Templars is not an army I've ventured into. The one thing I would say negatively about this, and I'm sorry, it's black. and black is quite a tricky paint scheme to go with if you're a beginner. It's quite a hard, unless you've got.
Men in Black.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like highlighting black, where do you go from? Again, if you want to learn how to paint some models, then there's a guy on this call that is also pretty good at that. So
Got a couple of Black Templar painting tutorials as well. So I've got a speed painter one, I've got a normal one, and I've got one where I painted a very special model, which I'll make sure I put up on the screen now, which was a collaboration with Amphiaris off Instagram. He who does all the amazing sculpts, and this was amazing, and it was like all my dreams in one model. I absolutely love and adore it. And I was really hoping actually they get some. This is very off topic. It's not off topic. It's topic adjacent. I was hoping that they might get some Terminator upgrades. We still don't know what Black Templars are getting, but what I was thinking of doing is to get robed Black Templar Terminators. Is to simply use the Dark Angels Knights, the Deathwing Knights, as a base because they have tricks or
yeah,
tabars, we should
well,
say.
beautiful models as well.
Yes.
The other thing I will say that's going for this is that dude is that the Sword Brethren, the dude just with who's charging with the
Yes.
awesome model.
Yes.
Some poses for models work really, really well. That is definitely one of them.
It is one. It is awesome, yeah.
You also get a tank.
Yeah.
With a sword strapped to the front of it.
You do. And I think when you look at the other thing that I like about this, and again, if you guys want to hear us kind of go into more depth about these things, like how would I take a Black Templar Combat Patrol and make it into something bigger and better? What else would I buy? Then let us know in the comments. We kind of stuff we'd love to do because it's just us talking about stuff we love. Whether it's right or not, I don't know. But when you look at the ecosystem of the Black Templar army and you look at all the kits like the Sword Brethren kit and things like that, there are so many spare bits that you can make a really unique Black Templar army in terms of all the chains on the weapons and things like that without having to go too bonkers in terms of sculpting and green stuff in. So you can make a really nice, unique Black Templar force because of the ecosystem and the upgrades that you've got as part of the release. So I think that's like in terms of building something that's really cool as well.
Massive pro for sure. All right. So
Templars win that one.
we've got a new reigning champion so far. Will they stay there though? With the next box being Eldari.
Eldari.
So I've actually been listening to I don't know if anyone's familiar with them. If they are, let me know in the comments. I've been listening to Pancreas No Work, the lore videos, and he's a massive Eldar fan. Admittedly, I think we've talked about this before, but I didn't know a huge amount about the Eldar space elves, and listening to him talk about it again. This is what I love about this hobby. Anyone showing enthusiasm towards something, I could just sit and listen to them, and he was very enthusiastic towards them, and the way he described the Eldar was so cool. It gave me such an appreciation for them, that they're these human-like species, but they're in that uncanny valley of being incredibly beautiful to the point where it doesn't make sense. The way they move, they're faster than Space Marines, which a Space Marine is blindingly fast. If you haven't seen the Amazon Prime, the video, what was it, the
Secret Level,
where that Marine is charging and runs through a car.
Yeah.
Just drops the shoulder, poof, takes it like a running back. They're faster than them. So he was saying, like, you'd be standing talking and you would be aware that they've moved, but suddenly they're on the other side of the room. And I was like, oh, that's such a cool way of describing it. So I have to admit, my appreciation for Eldari has
it's a very good word that describes Eldar. They use it in the Black Library books quite a lot, not just for Eldar, but for everything. It's preternatural. Which it even just sounds like, ooh, what's that? But it's just that more above natural. It's just that, like I said, they move that much quicker. I like the Eldar models. I do like the Eldari models. For me, they're not going to knock the Black Templars off. I think the Dire Avengers are a little dire in terms of the kit. So that's the blue ones. Because they are an older kit, and I know they do suffer with mold lines and things like that. So if you're kind of getting into this, again, we're being arbitrary now because I want Black Templars to win. But you do get a really nice selection of models in there. So the Warp Spiders are brand new models, brand new sculpts. They are a little fiddly, I will say that. Having built some, they are a little fiddly.
Do look at
Also, you've got the Spirit Seer, which I think is a cool model.
But
And of course, you've got those Wraith blades as well, which are the slightly bigger models with the axes. And I think from a value point of view, this is a really good value box actually in terms of what you get in it. Points wise, not so much, but definitely cost wise, I think it's a good box. For me, it just, if we're gonna go rule of cool, it's just not warrior monks. Soz.
no, no, yeah, I agree. Cool, but not quite cool enough in my opinion as
Yeah.
well.
So now you're kind of getting into the concept of what winner stays on is. Now, if we'd have had the Eldari up against maybe the World Eaters, I think Eldari would have won if they'd gone up against Thousand Suns. They would have won, but they went up against the Black Templars. They didn't have a chance. They had a little chance, but the irony being on the tabletop, they probably would slice and dice the Black Templars a little bit, depending on who got the charge. But for me, yeah, it's going to be the Black Templar box, which takes us on to the Astra Militarum Combat Patrol. Now, this is an interesting one.
This is different. So I got the last one, which you got the Sentinel, you got the two ordnance batteries,
Yeah.
you get 20 Cadian,
Yep.
and then the command squad
Command squad, yeah.
here, and I think that's it.
Yep.
Now they've replaced that. You've got the Kazrakin, you've got the command squad, you've
10 Attilian Rough Riders.
yeah, which I always think's hilarious. In war, they've still decided let's bring some horses, shall we?
Yeah. I think the Attilian Rough Riders are actually pretty decent in game, I believe. If you
Yeah.
can get them where they need to be, you can get them to have the charge. I think it's a very odd box
It is.
in terms of what the content's in it. I thought this when I first saw it. I thought that is like the old one is amazing
It was.
because you get so much stuff in it. And I'm not saying you get less stuff in this per se, but it just felt the other one just felt like a proper Astra Militarum box. It's got artillery, it's got troops, it's got a command squad. You know, whereas this one just feels a little
Off.
odd. And those Attilian Rough Riders, they're a pain to build as well. They've got a lot of mold lines.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit of a hodgepodge box. It looks like they went dartboard. Oh,
Yeah.
the Rough Riders? How many? 10.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And don't get me wrong, I love the look of the Attilian Rough Riders.
Yeah.
I love how you can customize them a little bit. They're lovely, lovely models. The Kazakin, I think, are some of the best models in all of 40k. Like I when they came out for Kill Team, I was like, oh my god, they are great because they're like the classic stormtroopers, loads of weapon options. They look really, really cool. Like I love the Kazakin kit. It's just an odd box.
It is. It is very.
Command squad again. I love the command. Like, if you know me and you know Ben, I tried to do a 2,000 point in Astra Militarum army. I managed to build 2,000 points, painted about 10. And there was a Rogal Dawn, so that's like 250, 260 maybe.
Not bad, yeah.
One Cadian. But I love the aesthetic. The new release of all the Astra Militarum stuff is fantastic. The Krieg, fantastic.
Yep.
It's not a box.
No, so strange. The more I look at it, the more confused I am. So
I'm not even sure if the command squad can lead Kazakin.
I was about to ask that. I was like, can they? I mean, they don't
Well, I'm going to find out. I'm going to look at it now as I'm kind of
yeah. So
live action with my Warhammer 40k app. But and we'll get onto it in a little bit. The Dark Angels Combat Patrol. There's a captain in Grav's armor can't lead any of the troops.
it's weird. It is very weird. I would again the approach I'm trying to take on this was imagining taking your friend who's like, what's this 40k stuff? I want to have a look at it, taking them into the shop and being like, right, these are them. And if you pick this box up, they pick this box up, sorry, can't just exclusively have as guys. If they pick the box up, I would probably suggest they sit this one down. Unless they thought it was the coolest thing in the world, in which case I'd be like, cool, go for it. Which again, we're basing this on, but again, I'm trying to think of it from a different perspective. Yeah, this one's just not good enough to knock off the.
I think the models in it are fantastic. I think they're great models. If I wanted to bulk up an Astra Militarum force, then this could be an option. But for me to get started, it doesn't really do what it needs to do. So for me, Black Templars stay on top.
Your jimmies are not jangled. So that's a reference to my videos, and we're gonna push them in there. So, Black Templars still at the top. Moving on to
Now.
Okay, no, I've not actually. I've tried to not look at these ahead of time. I want to look at this in real time. And this is why it's good, because we have now got White Legion,
Which is your favorite?
uh, the Blood Angels. Now, you're getting 6 Sanguinary Guard, which I think arguably are probably some of the coolest models in the lore. The lore, though, I'm saying that specifically here.
They were done dirty.
They were, you get the Tactical Marines, Assault, I think Assault Tactical Marines. I'm not sure if it's exact which one it is.
Assault Intercessors, yeah.
Assault Intercessors, and then you get the Captain. Now, the Captain you can build in a multitude of different ways, which is cool.
Lovely kit, the Captain kit.
Very, very nice. I did thoroughly enjoy painting him up. Those Sanguinary Guard, just bland. Just really bland. It's like they took all the thing. I could not wait to see what they were going to do with these, because I knew the Blood Angels were going to get updated, and I was like, I can't wait to see what they do. And then these guys came out, and I was like, oh, okay, so they're unit of 3 now, so you're losing a model. They used to come in squads of 5 in the box. They had these beautiful golden ornate wings. And these guys just, it's so sad for me to say this, but they're just boring. They just are. I just don't think they're that cool. I still would pick this one up personally, and it's hard to say no to.
With a tear in your eye.
Yeah, yeah. The little blood tear just dropping down for my boy Sanguinius and how much they've done his boys dirty here. But I have to say that the golden armor, and you can do the captain with the golden armor too, that does just pop a little bit. But I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think I'm gonna have to. I think I have to go with the Black Templars, because you get a tank.
Yeah, you get a tank, and I think the other thing with the Blood Angels one is you get the Sanguinary Guard, you get the Captain.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the rest is just a normal like Assault Intercessor squad, which is, again, it's a good. Both boxes are good bases for building out armies. The difference with the Black Templar one is you could buy 2 of those, and you could use all those models. Whereas you bought 2 of the Blood Angels ones, you can't use all the Sanguinary Guard.
No,
I don't think.
guard. No, that would be. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense. You. I don't. Yeah. Can you run that many? Even if you
could actually, could they do squads of 6?
Maybe.
If they do squads of 6, then you can do 3-6, can't you? You should have 18 Sanguinary Guard. But ideally, you'd want a jump pack captain in there who could attach to the Sanguinary Guard. So I know we're kind of going outside the scope of the combat draw a little bit here, but I just think the Black Templar box, again, is just a better base box.
Yeah.
You get more Black Templar models in it. You get the Impulsor. Yeah. So I just, for me, and again, I like the Blood Angels Captain kit. I think it's a fantastic kit in terms of how versatile it is. The pose is a little static, but you can build it in a way in terms of the weapon options to make it look a little more dynamic. Yeah. Also, chuck a jump pack on it, and you've got a really cool armored jump pack captain. But yeah, for me, it's going to be the Black Templars.
Yeah, remember.
Sorry, Blood Angels fans. Sorry, Ben, but
sorry, my pistol. My bad, dog. Luckily, Sanguinis is down in the gym, so he's fine. He can't hear me.
He's fine.
He's fine. He's fine.
Get ready, just come back.
Yeah. Okay, so Blood Angels have been passed over onto the Imperial Agents. Now, I know my stuff, but this is one I have no idea. This is just another aspect of the Guard Imperium. This is just a random hodgepodge of models. They've just gone, what do we got? Let's stick that in. Let's stick an assassin in there. Let's stick a zealot in there. Let's stick some dudes. Like, these are the guys at the back. They are basically the police, I believe, of the Imperium, correct?
The Arbites, yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got, I don't even know what some of these guys are, but they don't even, okay, so as individual models, cool. But there's that guy at the bottom right who's just a pistol and he's got 2 pistols. Yeah, but there's just a weird box.
Yeah, I think so. The base of this box is the Inquisitorial Agent, which is and so you get the Minister and Priest, and then the 6 Inquisitorial Agents. That was, I believe, a kill team.
Yes,
that was released.
It was, yep.
And that sold bonkers well, because I think what you get in that box is some really unique models that you don't get anywhere else in 40K. It's a bit like that Ministorum kill team that they released very recently, which actually I wasn't really sure of when I got hold of the models. Oh, actually, these are really cool
Yeah.
because you don't get them anywhere else. And there's a lot of character in each model. So you look at those ones, there's lots of character in those models. I think in order to make them relevant, obviously we put them into like a combat patrol with some Arbites and things like that. The Arbites, again, they're lovely models, but they are quite a bit of work to paint and to paint well.
Well,
I do share your. I think it's been two things that have been forced together to create something rather than something that's a bit more organic, I think.
yep. You do get a dog though.
You do get two dogs.
That's cool. That's
You
cool.
get two cybermassives, two goodish boys.
Yeah, but K9 units. Again, yeah, to me, knowing 40k, it just I would not know where to go from there.
Mm.
And as you said earlier, there's something quite nice about feeling like you could buy that box again. This is, I believe,
Yeah.
box.
You'd have to, I think you'd have to ally these as a detachment with like Guard or with Space Marines maybe. And then they kind of, it probably takes away from what you'd spend those points on, something with a bit more firepower. So yeah, bit of a strange, again, great character for models, but a bit of a strange one for combat patrol. So for me, Black Templars win that one again.
Yeah, I agree. Black Templars moving on to fight the Gene Stealer Cults box. Now you are getting a truck. You're getting a, what's that called? Is that the
The Ridge Runner.
Ridge Runner? Again, you're
Yeah,
the one that gets all the names right here. I'm just going to say what they are. You get a squad of 5 bikes, which admittedly pretty cool looking.
yeah. Well, one of them's a quad bike as well, so with a mining laser. So that's really cool.
So it's a okay. So it's a squad. Is that a squad of 6, or is that 5 bikes?
So you've got the 4 bikes and the quad. The one with the sniper rifle is a Jackal Alpha. So essentially, that's a leader model.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now,
So yeah,
aesthetically, uh, some of these models are very cool. I think the Gene Stealer cults, they've never been a particularly interesting. Again, from the from a distance, quite cool concept. The idea that Tyranids have kind of infected these humans and they're slowly manifesting, and then they're like, yeah, turning into Tyranids. But that means that their lore's pretty stagnant. They can't really, once the Tyranids arrive, they get wiped out anyway.
Hmm.
The Tyranid proper come in and be like, okay, cool, thanks for doing this.
yeah,
Bye. Eat you all, num num num. Uh, it's gotta be Black Templar for me
yeah.
still.
I mean, for me, visually, the GCL cards I really like
Yeah.
because essentially it's because they're that populous. They're the population basically that have been slowly transformed, and
Mhm.
that's why you get things like the Ridge Runner, the Rock Grinder for the vehicles. They're civilian vehicles, they're industrial vehicles. So I really like that aesthetic. I really like the way, I don't know if they still play this way, but in the old edition, they used to play where you could set ambushes and traps and you'd have like basically counters and you flip them over and it's like, oh my God, all of a sudden there's this squad there. But for me, for getting into it, I don't think they're the best faction for that. I mean, we did talk in our Henry Cavill episode that we thought GCL cults could potentially feature in
Yep.
some capacity.
Mhm.
Um, but the way I'll sum this up is I've got a painting tutorial on how to paint GCL cults, and I've only overdone the one model, and it's the kind of like it's that grey scheme. And somebody, it's years old, really, really, really is an old tutorial. And somebody commented on it recently saying, I picked some of these up having watched this tutorial because I thought they looked cool. Oh my God, they are so much work to paint.
I
So it's like,
Yeah.
bet. And I think that's gonna take my opinion on it. So for me, Black Templars once again crusading to victory.
Yeah, I agree. I think they look sick, but from a distance. From a distance. Cool. If someone loves them, awesome. But yeah, to me,
Yeah, if you love GCL cards, tell us why.
happy days. Yeah, and I do like, as you said, like I do like the fact that they are just the regular humans.
Yes.
They've got things that we would very much recognize, like those trucks,
Yep.
bikes, quads, trucks. They're not floating. They're not anything crazy. And then you got the other
I'm
side.
sure there's someone who floating, but yeah.
Yeah, then you got the other side of the coin where, oh, those guys have like 3 arms, or a whip for an arm, or a claw for an arm, and it's a bit confusing. But yeah, I think they aesthetically cool, but yeah, not cool in the Black Templars, unfortunately. Um,
There we are. So Black Templars march on. Next opponent.
The Adeptus.
The Sororitas.
Mm. Again, this
Sisters
is
of
not.
Battle, for those of you who are a bit long in the tooth. What do you think about these, Ben?
I think the Adeptus Sororitas are probably some of the most beautiful models that GW has ever
I
released.
agree.
I think
I
they
agree.
are gorgeous. This box is not as good as the old one that they had. The old one you got the what was it? The Pennant engine.
Penitent Engine, yeah. So
Uh,
was it a Penitent Engine and 20 Sisters?
I think it was a really
I don't know.
weird box.
I
It,
don't
it
know.
was there was a lot of random bits to it, but yeah, this one
Yeah.
looks cool. I'm just trying to see if I can see what those are. Are they flagellants? Are they the?
Arcoflagellants, yeah.
So you got like 10 of them, which are haunting, absolutely
Yes.
haunting looking. So in terms of the cool, that's very cool. You get the it looks like a squad of just the kind of 5 man or five woman squad.
By woman. So you got the Celestian Sacrosancts, so they're the ones with the shields and the maces. So they're kind of an elite bodyguard type unit.
Badass, badass. Yeah, again, aesthetically beautiful. Lots of work though in terms of the paint.
Do you know the kind of the story behind the sisters and how they came to where they are now and the models that they've got?
No, tell me.
So this may have happened in maybe your hobby hiatus. So for years and years and years, they were the Sisters of Battle and they were metal models.
Mhm.
And they were basically they were just left to go and to go and to go. So there's a big campaign to get Sisters of Battle into plastic. And basically Games Workshop listened and were like, okay, we'll do it. So they put them into plastic. They did some limited edition models to release them and stuff like this. And it was a really, really good release. The boxes just sold out like that. New codex, new lore. And they started off with that. The set you got, I think it was 10 Sisters of Battle. Um, you had a Canoness, which was unique to that box set, so you could only get her as part of that, which may have been the basis of the last Combat Patrol. You had 5 of the, I think I want to say Seraphim, so the jump pack ones,
Yes,
and
yes.
then you had possibly 10 of the Sisters Repentia, so they're the ones who had basically been a bit naughty and were just sent off with nothing to wear but a big chainsword
Repent.
into battle. And I think you also got like a penitent engine and some arcoflagellants, perhaps, I think, as part of that. So
Yep.
really good release, and then they've kind of expanded on that as they go forward. I For these two boxes, I would still stick with Black Templar, but just by looking at what you get as part of this box, just you can see the multi-part sisters are really quality.
Yeah.
Very similar to the Black Templars, the ecosystem of the sisters models, Sororitas models, is fantastic. So in terms of how you can use different things across different kits,
Mhm.
to give you that kind of stuff, and you can mix and match really well to really make a unique army. Now I'm talking predominantly about the power armor sisters here. When it comes to the Repentia, the Flagellants, they're kind of set in terms of their poses. But even the Canoness that you see in this set, that's got lots of different options as well. Um, so I do like the ecosystem of the sororitas as a set of models.
Yeah.
I don't I wouldn't pick them up over Black Templars.
No, it's close for me. This is the closest it's been so far, admittedly. I do just really appreciate the aesthetic of these guys. Girls, ladies,
Girls.
women.
I think
Uh,
Games Workshop deserve credit as well for how they developed the range out.
Yeah.
So from what it started off at, it's just a very basic plastic range. You've now, they brought in things like those the Celestian Sacrosancts. So they're a really good close combat unit because obviously the sisters are predominantly a shooty army. They're very squishy. I think they're
Yeah.
toughness 3. They've brought in some Walker units. They've got Morven Val, who is actually one of the Lords of Terror as well. So she's extremely high ranking.
Yeah.
And she's got that gold suit with a massive like heavy bolter and a big spear. So
Paragon suits, isn't it?
Paragon suits, that's the one, yeah. So I just think for me, they've really built the range out really nicely. And if somebody came to me and said, do you want, you know, again, when you look back at it, if they were up against some of the other box sets we talked about, if they're up against Grey Knights, if they were up against Khorne, Worthy, I think this would just every time would win for me. But up against Black Templars, I can't give it to the girls on this one, but they are a fantastic range of models, and I really like how that model ecosystem works as well.
Yeah, I agree. Very, very cool, but the Black Timbers just edged out that a little bit more. And going back to what we said in the spirit, what you were saying as well, 27 models in this kit. That's a lot to paint up. That can be quite intimidating, and these are not easy models to paint. There's a lot going on. Again, I feel like it could be easier, but I'm just looking at that one with the standard bearer. It's not a standard bearer, but you know what I mean, the equivalent of it.
Yeah,
Stupid angel baby thing, which always freaked me out. By the way,
cherub.
those cherubs are haunting. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I think from a hobby perspective alone, that would be a little bit more intimidating than the Black Templars, in my opinion. So Black Templars are stomping,
yeah,
stomping through. Okay.
like what's fair. I've
And
I've just mixed up my tabs as well, so I now I'm completely out of order in
okay.
terms of what's coming next. So Ben, I'm gonna have to rely on you a little bit here.
Well, you're all good. So we're under the Chaos Space Marines. And this it's back to chaos.
Back to chaos. There's so much
Um,
chaos, which is good because more Warhammer is good.
Thank you. Oh, you meant okay, sorry. See how my name went?
It was a bit of a dual use.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought of it. So, okay, coolness factor, these look cool. That are you cannot look at this and not go, that's pretty sick. But that's unfortunately where it ends for me. These like an absolute endeavor to paint. This would be one of those projects that you would get one done and be like, oh, only like 19 more to go. Wait, like it there, yeah, what, 26 of them? You get some cultists in there,
Yeah.
big boys there. There's what, like, is that a squad of five of these larger guys? Which what are their
So you
names?
get five possessed, a master in possession, which I think is a fantastic model.
Yeah.
Um, not that difficult to paint actually. Because he's got his cloak and his robes and stuff, he's not that bad. So yeah, you get master possession, five possessed, 10 chaos marines, and 10 chaos cultists.
Yeah, I mean, it's chaos. So,
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I agree with you when you said they do look cool.
mhm.
If I was doing this box, if I want to get really good value out of this box and say, my God, that is an amazing box, I wouldn't have the cultists, I'd have Terminators,
Yes.
but or I'd have Havocs, which is essentially the heavy weapon squad for chaos.
Ooh.
I am not in charge of things that gives you a clock, which is probably for the best. But
For their profit
just
margin, yes.
yeah, but again, for me, it's that intimidation factor is quite high because even as me, who's somebody who's painted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of models, like I get a chaos squad and I think, oh my God, these are so cool. I love these. I'm gonna do some chaos. And like by the time I've got the fifth one done, I'm like, no.
Hmm.
Because, again, just because of all that additional trim and things like that. So they are cool models, but I just yeah, again into the hobby, fairly intimidating. That said, though, Chaos has got a pretty good range of models
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
That's
To kind of expand on.
mhm.
Still not going to be Black Templars for me.
No, no, I agree. I agree. Okay. Moving on to what I think the community has it's a bit of a running gag with the Toy Empire.
Damn.
So the Toy are the kind of 40K's punching bag, let's face it. If everyone is aware of the memes, then yeah. Let us know in the comment section your favorite Toy joke. Mainly if your friends collect Toy, then they're no longer your friends. I I think this box is pretty cool looking. But as I look at it in more detail, well, okay, right. Let's take it from the perspective of, is this a good kit to start your army off with? I think it is. I think you get a tank, always cool. You get what, 20 troops? Looks like two units.
You get 10 flying warriors and 10 pathfinders.
Yeah, which I
Like
believe
20 troops, but two different units.
and you can build those both ways. I think you can build
No,
them.
you can't. So you can build the pathfinders. You can only build as pathfinders. The
Oh,
fly warriors you can build as breachers.
that's the one. That's
And then so yeah, so you can either build them as breachers or as a strike team. You've got 7 drones in there as well, which is that's cool because they're all about the drones.
yeah.
And I suppose the big centerpiece you get for that is the commander in the battle suit,
Which has
which is that sweet model.
it is. I have two of those, admittedly.
How many? Ooh.
Okay. Tau, Tau.
Oh, Tau,
The way I
Tau
was telling them,
Tau.
oh, I've got Tau of them. Um, you know what? This might be edging out the Black Templars for me, but I think you get a tank, which is cool. That was one of the things
Yeah,
with the Black Templars. I think this is a slightly cooler tank in my opinion. The other one, because that tank is more of a transport than a tank. Its primary function for the Black Templars box is transportation, with the odd pot shot that's going to come with it. Whereas this thing, again, it's a transport, but I think it has a little bit more power output than the Rhino or the was it?
Pulsar.
Yeah,
Well, I see what you're saying. And yes, the Devilfish does have a little bit more pop to it. I suppose it does have, you can use different drones as well. So they can be shield drones, gut drones, etc. It does kind of give it the same versatility that the Impulse has got.
true.
Devilfish has got higher transport capacity. So I think it can do like 10 or 12,
Mhm.
whereas the Impulsor might be 6. Um, I would say that the Commander is a very cool kit. And again, it's got a multitude of build options for it. So that's a really good one. I think for me, where this falls down against the Templars is the Fire Warriors and the Pathfinders.
Yeah,
Really cool kits in their own right, because whilst they're Tau, they're modeled very much in a human way in terms of, you look at some of the poses, it's very much reminiscent of what you would see on modern day military shows. If you're watching something like a drama on TV or something like that, they're kind of very reminiscent of that. But they're very challenging to paint,
that's true.
in my opinion. Obviously, the box scheme is white, which
Yeah,
you don't have to paint them white. So I'm not going to base my sole decision on that. But I do feel that obviously white can be an intimidating color. Obviously, I've got tutorial videos which show you how to do it very easily. But for me, I just think they're a bit more difficult, again, to get on the tabletop. And they're very, very small, which might sound like a stupid point when you're talking about a miniature wargaming hobby, but they are very small. Whereas at least with the Space Marines, they're a bit chunkier. So I agree, it is a bit more of a closer run thing. But for me, I am sticking with my boys in black.
okay, so what do we do here if we disagree?
I th- I think we went to like some sort of. Did we say we do like a coin toss
Yeah, let's
or something? Have you got
yeah,
a coin? I haven't got a coin. Oh,
we go.
here's a Warhammer coin I prepared earlier.
Yeah, I literally just looked across and I was like, yeah, but it's just sealed and everything. Okay, so it's a demon.
What is it?
It's
Oh, okay, it's a gold. Is that a golden demon collectible coin?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Has it got like a blank side on one side and the golden demon head on the other? Oh, it's got one, I think. Okay.
okay, so
So what do we say? So we will say the Warhammer logo is the Black Templars and the demon head is the Tau.
okay. So let's go. It's the tie.
Best of 3.
Okay. It's the tie.
Oh, hang on a minute. I think that's just a heavier side of the coin. All right. We say we do a coin toss. So the Tower beat. Oh, devastated.
Yeah.
Devastated by that.
I don't even feel good about it, to be honest. Well, let's see how quickly the tie are beaten here because we're moving on to the orcs. And this is specifically the Beast Snagger boys.
Snagger Orcs.
Oh, I love these models.
I love them as well.
This is beautiful kit.
Yes.
This is a kit that I've been extremely tempted to pick up myself. So you are getting a lot of boys here. I think you're getting 20 Beast Snagger boys. You're getting that beautiful HQ model who looks like all the stuff he's got on him is literally squishing him. He's adorned with that many
Yeah.
gubbins that he's literally squatted than normal. And then you're getting, what are those called?
The Squig Hog Boys
This
were accompanied by a bomb squig. I mean,
yeah, this wins. This wins immediately. Immediately. So yeah, the tie did win, but it was a very, very fleeting victory for them. This is an awesome looking kit in terms of how you would start the army. Awesome. I think all of the models in this kit you will probably use if you are starting specifically a Beast Snagger Boys army. New
yeah.
kits as well. They're fairly new. They're only
Yeah, very new kits. I think with the Beast Snagger Boys as well, you could probably run them with normal Orc Boys if you wanted to, even though I think in the current codex they're different units.
they are, yeah.
But I think they're full of character. I think that the Squig Hog boys are just immense. Like the one squig that's lost its back end and has now got wheels there instead. It's basically like a motorbike, but he's still got his front legs. Just
And
it's
then
it's insane. They're very, very orky. I think again, if you wanted to build an orc force, you're gonna need lots. I think you're gonna need lots of boys. So I think it's a good basis for that. The one thing I don't like the Beast Boss. I'm not a massive fan of that model. Like
Mhm.
if they'd have had something like, I don't know, what's the boss on uh the white squig? What's he?
Oh, Mozrog.
Mosrog Scragbad.
Oh,
So it
that
had
one.
him in there, for example, because again, that's a dual kit that builds two different things. But I get why he's not in there, but
Mhm.
I think if you put that in there, it would be a perfect kit. But for me, it's not quite brilliant. But I do think it's nice. I say nice. I do think it's better than the Tau kit, because again, the other thing is when you're painting orcs, contrast paint is great
Yes.
in terms of getting them done and getting them done quick. You can always go back and highlight them later on. I've got some lovely painting tutorials on how to paint them, including the knob for the Squidhog boys as well, which is one of my favorite models that I've painted. So
And it's just got I love that you can just say, yeah, it's just got a big bunch of knobs in there.
yeah,
It's just great. Just the childish humor that you can get away with.
exactly. Yeah, that's it. And that's what the orcs are about, really, isn't it? And I've said this before, like Space Marines really appeal to the organized side of my brain, where you've got like everything is regimented, you've got all the different kind of iconography and stuff like that. And then the unregimented side of the mess of my brain is just orcs.
Yeah.
Just love it. Just absolutely love it.
Same. And yeah, I agree with you on the Beast Snagger boss. It just looks a bit diminutive. I thought it was maybe the angle of the photo, but now I'm looking at him from the 3D image. He just,
Yeah,
I just, because
quite squat.
yeah, because you've got the Mega Boss in Mega Army, armor, which was in the old
Mm.
Orc box, which one of the coolest models. He's got a grot. I always call him Scott the Grot. He's got a literal gun mount on top of the armor of the Orc,
Yeah,
and he's got
it is a really good
such a
mod.
cool model. So yeah,
It's a really good look. Actually, it's a really good looking model, but it's a very strange kit to
Mm.
build.
this
But it's
this
a
one,
really good looking model.
the this one or the Mega Boss.
The Mega Boss in Mega Armor.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I actually built him as well. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what he was like to build. What makes you say, was it just a difficult sculpt or?
No, I don't think he's difficult. I just think he's odd. Like in terms of how it's designed, it's quite. It doesn't. I'm trying to do this from memory now because only really I've got what it's in the cupboard behind me, and because I was going to do a Bad Moons one,
Being,
and I'm just going off the top of my head now. But it's not difficult to build. It's just an odd kit in terms of the way it's designed. So it looks fantastic once it's built.
Mhm.
It's very square and angular. I think it's not necessarily what you'd anticipate, but I'm going off memory there. But I think we're happy with the Orcs beating the Tau.
Yes, yes, 100%.
All
Uh,
right,
all right, Dark Angels.
Dark Angel.
Now you mentioned these guys earlier.
I did mention them. I just think it's an odd combat patrol. So
Very odd.
combat patrol sits outside of 40k anyway. So so it doesn't necessarily matter so much
Hmm.
about some of the way that the rules interact. So the rules in combat patrol are similar, but not necessarily the same as 40k. I just find it really odd that this is the gateway to 40k,
Yeah.
and your HQ leader cannot lead any of the units because it's in Gravis armor.
Hmm. I agree.
Now, again, I might be completely wrong with that, but my understanding is that it can't lead.
No, I think you're correct. I think you're bang on the money there. I believe you are anyway.
This is the level of research we do before these shows.
Oh, so
Everything is
much,
done on what we
so
think
much
can happen.
we're so well prepared. We're so well prepared. So this box, I mean, so straight away, it's got to be the orcs for me. But I will say that the Blade Guard are some of the coolest looking models in there.
Yeah,
Immediately my eyes were like, "Ooh!" Now the fact that the bone color, and I know we're getting a bit pedantic here, but that's a hard color to paint. That looks
yeah,
color to paint. Those three alone, but the rest of the army, that is a fairly simple scheme to get up, and it wouldn't be too intimidating. So intimidation factor painting them, pretty good.
yeah. So I've done some research, live research.
Mhm.
A Gravis captain can only lead an aggressor squad, an eradicator squad, or a heavy intercessor squad. So they are other Gravis clad Marines.
Yep.
So yeah, a little bit of a strange choice. The Blade Guard is a fantastic kit. You've got loads of different build options. You've got lots of spares and things like that. It is hands down one of the most dynamic kits and kind of that you can get from the Space Marine range. Also really good as a base for doing if you were collecting Black Templars, Templar characters, because they've got the garb and they've got the tabard on there as well. So
You've just said something as well, though. There's absolutely no reason. There's nothing about this box other than the pauldrons, which I'm assuming you get the upgrades.
you get the upgrade sprue, yeah.
But there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't pick this box up and just make it any Marine chapter you want.
Yeah, you can make any Marine chapter you want.
So yeah,
Because there's no Dark Angel specific model in it.
no, that's actually going forward, I would say.
Yeah, oh no, I agree. So it gives you that. I mean, like I'm looking at the box and it's actually a really good,
Yeah.
apart from the captain, it's a really good Space Marine combat patrol.
Hellblasters.
Hellblaster's a great unit.
Yep.
Intercessors, you've got to have intercessors. And the Blade Guard's a great unit as well. I think this is a better Space Marine combat patrol than the Space Marine combat patrol, which we'll get to in a bit.
Oh, yes, we will. So okay, my minds are in how this is exactly the position that we were talking about, where we've got the organized, lovely
Yeah.
heraldry and neat and tidy, and then we've got the chaotic side.
Yeah. But just to add more kind of sitting on the fence to this,
Mhm.
is they can both fulfill similar roles in terms of how they'd fit into a bigger army. So you could take that Space Marine box and it could be any Space Marine chapter. You could take, I know they're Beast Snagger boys, but really you could filter them into any kind of orc boy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's probably more versatility in the Space Marine, oh sorry, in the Dark Angel box.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's odd that it's got a Gravis captain in there.
It's the only bit, yeah, and you don't want to buy that box and then be like, what do I do with this guy? He's a, no, no, to be fair, a pretty sweet looking model as well. I think he's very dynamic. He's got a good
Yep.
pose. He's good
Oh, it's a great model. I think it's a lovely model.
3D. Yeah, he's got like there's one of the things that I always look at in models is their depth of movement. He is very dynamic looking. He's got his foot up on the rock.
Yeah.
He's just got
You can also build it with double power fists. Who doesn't like double fists?
okay. What are you where are you going? Where are you leaning towards?
I'm obviously very biased when it comes to Space Marines. I think that this is a better box
Yep.
for getting into the hobby.
I'm yeah, I as much as I like the orcs in terms of the simplicity of this, in terms of painting, hobby and perspective, I'm gonna have to give it to the Marines, the Dark Angels. And the Dark Angels, admittedly, are one of my favorite chapters as too. And as well, like I read them on some.
The other thing as well, they've had such a good range refresh
Yeah, oh yeah, it was.
in terms of the Deathwing and Azrael. It's odd that there's not, and obviously the Lion and Belial as well, and who's the chaplain?
Asmodee.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're such a nice refresh, and I think obviously they're going to get more in the future as well. I imagine when they do the Raven Wing, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's odd that there's not a character or a Dark Angel specific model in this box. Even if they put that older lieutenant in that they did, which his name completely.
Trying to think who there was as well. Yeah, but yeah, no, but yeah,
They could have put him in there, and actually that would have been more effective than the thing because that lieutenant could have joined the Blade Guard, or could have joined the Intercessors or the Hellblasters.
yeah.
Sorry, lieutenant. We're in the UK, not the States.
Mhm.
I will say, perhaps the feeling is that the reason the Gravis captain is in this is perhaps it didn't sell as well as perhaps it was anticipated, so they put it into a combat patrol. And I think a little bit of that came through in some of the other combat patrols that we've gone through as well, where I think perhaps when you look at it, you think, the Astra Militarum, for example, with the Attilan Rough Riders, did they sell maybe as well? So did they put them in a combat patrol to kind of, I don't know. It's just speculation.
Yeah.
So we're giving it to Dark Angels?
Yes. Let's move.
Right. Awesome. Who's next?
Necrons.
Oh, Necrons.
Necrons. Okay, I'm a big fan of Necrons. I think the Necrons
Okay.
have the potential to be a very boring faction, but when you dig
Agree.
a little bit deeper, I think they are actually quite fascinating and it's quite sad. Like I've read was the new release, what was their box set, the third the most recent edition, 10th edition. Is it weird? 10th? 9th edition?
Ninth edition, yeah.
What's that called? I can't remember what it was called.
Indomitus.
Indominus. I read the book of that, and it gave you quite a good insight into the Necrons and how they function and stuff like that. And they're a lot more nuanced and much deeper characters than I think they're given credit for. They are seen as like these mindless Terminator-like robots, but there's, yeah. I mean, so, for example, those destroyers, they are so cool looking. They are an awesome looking kit. Um, you get that big walker thing, which again has got some real board presence, and I
Canoptech Doomstalker.
so cool. So cool. You get then 10 warriors. You get then the scarabs that come with that, and then you get the Necron Lord. So in terms of how you would expand from this, pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool army hobbying perspective. Very easy to pin. Spray them gold, wash them, get a bit of green for their power weapons, and you could call it done. Realistically, in terms of that, I'm leaning a bit more towards them, but do I give that win over the Marine? So the only thing that's really kind of tipping it over here is the fact that you get that big, big model, and there's something nice about buying a box and getting a big model, isn't it? So is it the big model going to tip it over for me? I don't know. What about you?
So I think the Necron refresh was great.
Yeah.
I think it was a really good refresh. I think the model you get here, the Overlord with the tack-in arrow, I think it's a fantastic model. It just oozes, even though it's a robot, he just oozes character.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching a battle report for, it might have been like the 9th edition launch, and that tack-in arrow is like a one-shot weapon, but if it hits, it kills, it deletes.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
I think, I'm pretty sure it was on Warhammer TV as well, and he shot it at like the Space Marine captain, and he was like, right, bye-bye, captain, gone in one shot. But I think it's a very cool model. I think the Necron range as a whole, I think is a cool range. I think they're a really nice refresh. For me, I struggle with them a little bit because I find them very difficult to build. I find them very finicky. I don't find the build instructions particularly helpful. The contact points are very small. I do take your point about the big walker, and also the Scorpec destroyers as well, which are just awesome. And that Scorpec Lord is like an insane model, like such a good model.
Yep.
I think this is very similar really to the Black Templar one, where you said if I bought 2 of these boxes, I'd have a really good core of an army. But then you can say that about the Dark Angels box.
Sure.
So
other than Robert's captain, but then the Lord, yeah, the Lord kind of falls into that. But
yeah,
I'm gonna give it to Necrons.
Okay.
I've been a fan of Necrons for a while. I think, yeah, I'm gonna give it.
Okay, well, I mean, part of me is kind of in this place of like, if the Necrons went up against the Black Templars, I'd probably pick the Black Templars. Similarly, if the Dark Angel one went up against the Black Templars, I'd probably pick Black Templars, but I could see Dark Angels, maybe a coin toss.
I say that all the time. Yeah.
Let's give it to Necrons.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, moving on to now this is online only, but this is the Tyranids Combat Patrol box. It's fine.
You're a Tyranid player.
I am. Bye.
I'm going to kind of defer to you on this one a little bit.
Yeah, so
all new models.
You get the Von Ryan's Leapers, which are just mini lifters, which very, very cool. You get the Psychophage, which is a very sick looking model.
Nom 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 nom.
It's just, yeah, and you can actually see it's digesting something along its like
yeah.
When you look at it. You get what are those called again? The ones that have the guns. What they're called now? What a bad Tyranid player I am.
The Barb Gaunts.
Barb Gaunts, yeah.
That the ones you mean?
Yeah, and then you get again a pretty so look, I think this is a really good place to start your Tyranids. If you were looking to start them, this is a pretty good place to start them, and the Tyranids range is massive. Massive. So does it beat the Necrons though? Again, in terms of hobbying, pretty nice models to paint, very beginner friendly, very beginner.
Contrast away.
Contrast the heck out of that, and you're good. If we're going by the arbitrary rules that we have laid down in the arbitrary comment,
I'm not sure there are any rules. It's just arbitrary.
No, everything's about this.
It's changing combat patrol to combat patrol at the moment.
There's 32 bits in this box, So just from that perspective, this is literally, I think that's going to be the thing that tips it over to Necrons for me, just to continue on, because
Yeah,
a lot, a
I
lot.
like. I'd probably share that opinion. I'd probably stick to Necrons. Um, don't get me wrong. I think they're all new models, but they're probably all the push fit models that came out in the latest box set, the 10th edition box set.
Yeah.
So they're fairly easy to build. Um, I share that. Oh my God, there's just so many of them
Yeah.
to kind of get done and get them on the tabletop. And I think that's a theme for Tyranids in general that puts me off them. The fact
Yes.
that you just need so many. Unless you go for something like Nidzilla with all like Carnifexes and stuff like that. Um, Tyranids have never really appealed to me. Like the Screamer Killer, I think is a great model, and I enjoyed painting that.
Yep.
The Non-Emissary, great model, enjoyed painting that. But yeah, just the small rank and file one, just yeah, it's not for me. So I'm going to stick with Necrons as well.
Okay. Moving on to the Combat Patrol Space Marines.
Mm.
Ugh. Oh, this is a weird box.
It is a weird box, and I think if you buy one of the starter sets, you for like 20 quid more, you get let me just make sure I'm not actually talking rubbish. You talk about the Space Marine Combat Patrol, and I'll see if I can make my point.
So first of all, you get Terminators, which are, I think, some of the coolest models to ever step foot in the 40K universe. I think
Yeah.
they are amazing. Now, these are all monopose. There's no flexibility at all. Same with the Tyranids one. No flexibility at all. You do get a librarian who can lead the Terminators. You've also got Terminator Champion, who is, again, cool. And then you get the, what are the Pyro, what are those called? Inferno?
Infernus Marines.
Was a bit of a weird choice. I probably would have rather have had like a tactical, a bunch of, five
Intercessors, maybe, yeah.
monsters. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't. If someone came to me and said, "Is this a good place to start?" I'd be like, you could do a bit better." And did you find the thing you were looking for there?
I did find the thing I'm looking for.
Yeah,
And Bombshell,
yeah,
for £130,
yeah.
you can get the Space Marine Combat Patrol, you can get the Tyranid Combat Patrol,
Mm-hmm.
rules, dice, a measuring ruler type thing, and some terrain.
Great. Yes.
£30 more than just one of them. So I think, and that's the ultimate starter set. So for me, straight away, I'm like, why would I spend £100 on this when I can spend £130 and get two armies?
And maybe
Essentially.
and split it between a mate with you and a mate,
Yeah.
which reduces the price even further.
Yep.
Makes no sense to me. So from a
Makes no
pricing
sense.
perspective,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I think that for me really goes against the Space Marine Combat Patrol. Everything you said about the models, like that Terminator Captain, you can get him in this set, and you can get him in obviously the Ultimate Starter set. I think that Terminator Captain is a phenomenal model. I think that he is just chef's kiss when it comes to it. He's better than the multi-part Terminator Captain model.
Ooh.
Yes, it's annoying that he stood on a Screamer Killer's head, but you can model him without that.
Yep.
But I just that is I just love that model. It's insane for me. It's one of the best they've done.
Okay. So are we dethroning the
No, I don't think
Lloyds?
so.
No.
I don't think so, because whilst that Terminator Captain is one of the most phenomenal models, the new Terminators are great. So
Yes.
whether it's the multi-part ones or the push fit ones that you'll get in this kit, they're seamless. You couldn't tell the difference between them.
Sure.
Um, they're fantastic models. The Infernus Marines, when they're painted, they're pretty good as well.
Mhm.
The Librarian,
Yeah.
he
It's fine. Just
feels chaosy. If I'm going to be honest, it feels like a chaos librarian, the way the runes and stuff work in it. So I'd probably be happier if and again, haven't done a tutorial on how to paint the glowing runes. I probably would fill most of them in and just have a few, maybe.
yeah, yeah.
But the big thing that goes against this is the fact that just for 30 quid more,
Yeah.
just that doesn't seem to me, it doesn't make sense.
No, I agree. Shall we move on to
Yes, let's move on. So
Correct.
Necron's still winning.
or Necrons are still winning? On
Okay.
to the combat patrol for the Emperor's Children. So this is very, very new. It's temporarily
Very
off
new.
at the moment. Uh yeah, we've talked about chaos a lot. These are very nice looking, but they're not my type of nice looking, to be honest. So
Okay.
what about you?
I'm going to introduce another arbitrary measure.
Please do.
shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
And that arbitrary measure is that this box is temporarily out of stock online,
Yeah.
which means it's very popular because it's sold out.
Mm-hmm.
People obviously want to get hold of it. And the reason I think people want to get hold of this box is it's a really good box to start an Emperor's Children army.
Fair.
So you've got the Lord Exultant, which is, again, it's a great model, but it's got lots of different build options. There's my painted Lord Exultant. I don't know if you can see that. There he is. Oh, he's tiny. But it's a really good box for that. And I think that's why it's sold out, because people are not buying it for combat patrol, they're buying it because it's a really good core force for your Emperor's Children. If you want to collect Emperor's Children, I think they are all brand new models, they're all brand new sculpts. I don't think they suffer from the same issue that all the other Chaos sculpts we've spoken about suffer from, i.e., all of the trim. They don't suffer from that. They're very noticeably pared back, considering they're Slaneshi and it's the god of excess. They are very noticeably pared back. But
Yeah.
I think if I was going to pick between these and the Necrons, I'd probably pick the Necrons.
Yeah. I'm just, it's hard to sway me away from, sway me to Chaos, but that might change with the next one.
Yeah. Which is?
Combat Patrol for the Death Guard. So, I'm a big fan of Papa Nurgle. I think these are probably some of the easier armies to paint in terms of, who's this? Is that the new one?
Boxes, the new one, yeah.
That looks sick. I've not seen it in person yet, but yeah, I'm going to give this the Death Guard. You get some big, thick boys, which is great. You get that amazing looking, there's a Lord of Pestilence, is it? The dude, the main character?
Yes.
Yeah, you get a right.
Lord of Virulence.
Lord of Virulence, yeah. You get the Talman. You get
Talman, yeah.
Squad. So you're kind of checking a lot of the boxes that I would look for. You get a unique character that you could repeat. Again, unlikely to, but you could if you want. You get what are those? The Death Shroud Terminators.
Yep, you get 3 of those.
Awesome big size. You get a Rhino, so you get a tank. You get a squad that's going to be a battle line main troop choice.
Yeah.
And again, in terms of intimidation factor for painting, I can see why people would be a little bit intimidated upon first looking at this, but these guys are relatively simple to paint.
Yeah, and importantly, they're very enjoyable to paint.
They are.
I find this every time. Whenever I play a Death Guard, I really enjoy painting it. It always makes me want to paint more, because you can use contrast as the base, like Militarum Green for the base of the armor is great.
Yep.
And as long as you're tidy, you can use other contrast paints and all the bits of tentacles and stuff you got wobbling out there and all that stuff. And it's so much to the point where I got the Poxraw Vector box sent to me by Games Workshop. Thank you very much to them, which is why I've got the Lord of Poxes. I painted that and I enjoyed it so much. I was like, right, let's see what else is in the box, because I'm going to paint the rest of them.
Nice.
I haven't, because I've got far too many things to do, but they have that effect on me. And I think we spoke before about when we did the preview about the Death Guard. What's really good about this box is because you've got that Chaos Rhino, it takes out the big weakness for Death Guard, which is the fact that they don't move very fast. Mm-hmm. So you chuck your Tallyman and your playing Rhino gets the way they need to go. They're protected. The Terminators will deep strike onto the board. So I 100%. I think it's actually a really good combat patrol in terms of combat patrol itself, but also in terms of setting you up for having a Death Guard army.
Yeah.
So I would agree, beats the Necrons for me.
I think this is the most complete of all the combat patrol boxes that we've looked at.
So far, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to this next one. Now, this is the Leagues of Votan, my squat boys, but we're going to have to caveat this one because it's sold out online, which would suggest that they're going to do away with this one. But I've actually got this box. In fact, I think I got 2 of these boxes.
Votan are on the way, so they're on the roadmap soon. So we're going to see the new Votan Codex, potentially a new model as well, very, very soon, which Ben is very excited about.
I hope it's not just one model, by the way. I really think it's like more than one. I don't hope that. Fingers crossed. But
so if memory serves me, when the Votan were released, they came with the Carl, the Hurdenkin Pioneers on the bikes, and 20 Hearthkin. Are they Hearthkin? Is that what they're called?
Yes, the standard.
Yeah, a 20 Hearthkin. So that's what you got in the Votan launch box.
Yep.
Obviously, this, instead of that extra 10, you've got the 5 Chthonian Berserks.
Yeah. I love this box. I think it's a solid It's a solid combat patrol box. Again, it's a shame to see it going, but I'm keen to see what they're going to do with it. But I think it's fantastic. You got the speed, which you get as you said about Nurgle, they suffer from that. They are not fast, which makes sense. They're tiny
Mhm.
dwarves. So you've got the speed from the Pioneers, those Pioneer models. Beautiful. A little bit intimidating, I have to admit. I actually I commissioned my friend Adam to paint them. He did a beautiful job with them, so I have six of those. Awesome looking, but they are a little bit intimidating. I do have to say that.
Mm.
The Hearthguard, again, you're going to need those for just objective control and just troops. The Cowl you can build in a multitude of different ways, so
Yeah.
you've got the versatility of that. The Chthonian Berserkers, they have a very specific role to fill, smack things. But you can also build them with maces, these mauls. So again, you could the
Yeah.
versatility in this kit is pretty good. Is it better than the Death Guard though? I don't know. What do you think?
No,
I don't think it
I
is.
don't think it is. I
No.
will caveat that by saying I think it's a great range. I love the Votan range. What I really like about, again, the Votan range has got great versatility in it,
Yep.
in terms of how the different options of how you can build them. I love the aesthetic of the Pioneers on the hover bikes. I think that's great.
Yep.
I really love the Harkin Warriors as well because you can just build them in lots of different ways.
Yep.
So I do like the range. It does need, for me, it needs a bit of expansion, quite a bit of expansion. It does need like a maybe, I don't know, it needs something else just to kind of round it out.
Yep.
But I don't think it's a better combat patrol than the Death Guard.
No, it's hard for me to say, but yeah, I agree.
Mm.
Votan are actually what got me back into 40K properly. Like
Yeah.
all these, I was like, this is my
Yeah, and like we said, it's sold out online, which means that they're no longer making this combat patrol. So we do have to caveat that in the knowledge that there's going to be a new one along soon with the new codex. So that's
okay.
that. So we've got three left. Have you got three left there?
Yes, we were moving on to Drukari, and then we've got Custodes, and then the Adeptus Mechanicus. So Drukari, it's a no for me for the Drukari. Super intimidating looking.
Yeah.
Ships look like they'd be. It looks like I'd break those immediately. On those flying stands, we talked about that before. The flying stands, like the
Yeah.
Run
They're
Overload.
actually the old style flying stands, so I will kind of defend them a little bit. So they're kind of the round base with the vertical flying stand, which goes up inside. So they're not as fragile as the newer flying stands. I will say that.
They were the same as
Um,
the Necron destroyers, the floating ones. I used to have those
mm,
back in the day. They were like there's a
yeah,
clear base little stand.
yeah,
So yeah, they're a little bit more robust than the new one, and they're not as ugly, I don't think. But yeah, intimidation factor very very high on this. I just don't really like the Drakari that much. Fine looking box, but
careful, careful.
yeah, I don't know. What about you?
I think it's a good box. I think it's a good value box. Because it comes with those. It comes with a Ravager and a Raider, which are transport ships and gunships. So I think it's a good value box. I don't like the Archon model. I think there was an older Archon model which was much better. And I think if they redo an Archon model, having like a multi option kit would be a really good idea. I
Yeah,
think the Incubi are really cool. They're the ones with the big two-handed swords.
yeah, yeah.
And the Cabalite Warriors are okay. And people always kind of, this is something that's kind of I've heard a little bit of recently. People anticipating like a big Drukari refresh.
Okay.
I don't see that because the Drukari got a huge refresh. I know it was a while ago, so we're pushing like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, but they're still fairly fresh looking in terms of the kits.
Not bad.
Um, I agree with you in terms of the intimidation factor, in terms of painting them. Again, they're basically space owls. They're very small. And I think the Ravager and the Raider, whilst they're great looking kits, haven't built them and painted them. For getting into the hobby, they're probably a little bit. And I'd still pick that the Death Card over them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, moving on to the Emperor's Goodest Boys, the Adeptus Custodes. Now, I've got a bit of a soft spot for these guys, but this is a new, and again, sold out because I think we've talked about this before, but I would say the Adeptus Custodes are probably one of the greatest places for someone to start if they're looking to get into Warhammer.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much.
I think this is a great box,
It is, yeah.
and that's why it's temporarily out of stock. I think the value in this box is huge
Yep.
when you do the individual kits. I think they're very easy to paint to a basic standard, i.e., you spray them gold, you paint some red on, and you can go back to them afterwards and touch them up.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also a fantastic box to start because it is a Custodian's army. I mean, I don't
It
know what
is.
the points are in that box, but there's a lot of points in that box, I think.
Yeah, there, and I just realized there's a blade champion in there as well.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice him upon first looking, but yeah, that's a solid box. So you're getting three Lurus Terminators. You're getting the what are they? The
5 Wardens,
Warden.
5 Custodian Guard, and a Blade Champion. So it's small model count wise. It's only 14 models, but
Good.
in terms of using that on the tabletop, and the other good thing about you see how they're all built on there, and obviously that's how the combat patrol is designed to work.
But
But if you're just buying this to get on the tabletop, then I think it's a fantastic starter box. And two of these, and you've probably got 2,000 points with Custodies. Not far off. I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, you've got a solid start. I'm gonna give it to these guys because that is, yeah, that's taking a lot. Again, it would have been nice to have something a bit bigger, just to have that centerpiece model. But the
Yeah.
custodians aren't. They don't need that because they are
No, and the only
champion.
centerpiece model they've got is Trajan Valoris, which is their kind of their main character HQ. So you probably wouldn't pop him in this
You
because
wouldn't
that
want to.
breaks
Yeah.
the way that they've done them all. I mean, I think the old one used to have like the Dawn Eagle jet bikes in there.
And
Uh,
the Sisters of Silence.
this is a silence, yeah. So I think this is a much better combat patrol than that. I
Yep.
think the Dawn Eagle jet bikes have kind of they came into fashion, they went out of fashion. I think they might be back in. I don't know where they're at. They're a cool model.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, they're an amazing model. But I just think this is just an insanely good
yeah,
deal.
it is.
I'm going to price it up. I've got to price it up to see what the kind of the saving is on that.
Okay.
Um,
Shall I move on?
so
Will
we're
you?
looking at what we got. Blade, so we got 40. So what are we up to? We're up to 80. And then you've got the Terminators. Where are the Terminators? 37. Yeah, so the Blade Champion and the normal, so the Wardens, the Custodian Guard and the Blade Champion come to £106. Chuck your Terminators on top of that as well. You're essentially getting them for free. So I just think it's a really good value box.
Yeah.
And when you translate that into 40k, there's a lot of points in there.
Yeah.
Even though it's small model count wise.
Custodies are winning as usual. Is that not in their lore as well? They never lose a battle.
They never lose. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually a super secret page in the Codex that it's not.
No, it says I win.
I've got it's a 1 command point stratagem which costs 0 command points if Trajan Valorous on the table. I auto win, so
Yeah. Oh well. And
no
anything else
bounties,
is,
no counters.
anything else is heretical. So you know,
Yes. So that leaves us with
Adeptus Mechanicus.
the Adeptus Mechanicus combat patrol, which is also temporarily out of stock.
Oh. So I have talked about these guys before. I think the Adeptus Mechanicus look cool, but they also look like a nightmare to paint.
Agreed. They are a nightmare to paint.
Super intimidating to paint. It'd be an army that I probably will never touch. I have no real desire to pick up.
Yeah,
these
I mean, you'll break them for starters.
Yeah.
I'll break them. I've painted a few of them. They are quite intimidating to paint.
Mhm.
To a good standard. I think some of the newer models that have come out for them, so some of the ones you've got in this set, such as the Sulphur Hounds, which can also be built as Cerberus Raiders, I think they're cool as a concept, but
Oh, yeah.
they just look like an absolute nightmare to paint.
Oh, I'm just saying that the left one that he's only got two contact. Is it two contact points on the ground? His back feet.
Yeah, so they're going to be to build and to paint just tough. I think the Taraxi sterilizers, which are the ones with the wings, again they look bonkers. They look very 40k, but practically speaking, they just look yeah. I don't know, and they've got those new plastic flying stands as well, which turns me off straight away.
Yeah.
I think as well one of the someone like Auspex Tactics has done an analysis, and actually Mechanicum are one of the more expensive models to get 2,000 points of.
Yeah.
So you'd have to buy lots of different kits to kind of get to those 2,000 points. So 2,000 points being the standard kind of tournament level that you'd play a game of 40k in. And honestly, they don't appeal to me.
No. I did. Yeah, I agree. I think again, look cool, but that's it. That's literally as far as it goes to me. I'm just like, yeah, okay. So we have just we've crowned a new winner.
I was a little bit worried it was going to be Necrons for a while then.
Same. I purposely didn't look at any of these.
Yeah.
I didn't have any, bias going into it. And yeah, the Custodies. I think if someone gifted me the Custodies box, about
Yeah, I'd
300.
be very happy with that. I think it's a great starting box. A very strong army as well, and like we said, it's simple to paint. That lends itself very nicely to a full Custodies force. The Death Guard one, I would say, is a very close second because I think the Death Guard one is excellent.
It is. It is.
As a combat patrol, um, which does kind of beg the question, like, how can some of them be so good and some of them just be like, eh.
Maybe that's another topic we could potentially talk about. Like, how could we improve, or how would we improve those boxes? What would we
Maybe.
add? What
I'm
would
not sure I know enough about that, but maybe we could find someone in the community who is an expert and they could come on as a guest. So if you know anyone who you think would know how to improve combat patrol boxes, even if it's you, let us know in the comments, and we will reach out and potentially have another guest. So there we are. On that bombshell, we have crowned the Adeptus Custodes as the best combat patrol for Warhammer 40,000 in a completely arbitrary way. So let us know down in the comments if we did any of your boys or girls dirty in terms of how we went through anything. We would love to hear if we obviously like the video. Like we said earlier, we're up for that 500 subscriber target. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and it feeds our egos to tell us that we're loved. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a bit of a longer one, but there was more to do, so we did it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all next time.